Welcome. Let's check and repot two PAPHIOPEDILUM species belonging to the pervisepalum group, PAPHIOPEDILUM hangianum and PAPHIOPEDILUM emersonii. Both are fragrant species. But before we start, let's look at where they come from and how they grow there. Both species occur in a small part of northern Vietnam and Southeast Asia, with a small overlapping part where they possibly can hybridize. They occur at altitudes between 450 and 750 meters high, which means they are quite warm growers. They can be found in very humid cloud forests, where they grow mainly semi-lithophytically in crevices in the limestone rocks, and always in places where they grow in quite shady positions. They are never found in full sun. Because their growing areas are in heavily eroded rocks, a lot of biodebris can pile up in these crevices, and these rotting materials help the orchids and provide them with food and extra moisture. Although they are in these deciduous forests, they aren't found in the trees. But in summer, the leaves shade them from full sun, while in winter, when it's drier, the more open forest provides them with extra light. Especially PAPHIOPEDILUM emersonii is critically endangered, especially in China, because of habitat loss. And there's also the problem of overcollecting by local people, especially in Vietnam, and selling them near the road as a means of trying to survive. In China, there's a program going on trying to reintroduce lab-grown seedlings back into the wild. There's a good video on it, and I'll link to it in the description below. So if we can get the opportunity to grow these orchids, we need to make sure we give them the best growing conditions. I got my seed-grown plants a few months ago, and now they are adjusted to my growing conditions, that is, living in a home environment. It's time to check them out, take a look at the roots, and repot them in my growing media. These plants are near flowering size, so I'm hoping to get them to bloom in the near future. This one was grown in very compacted sphagnum moss, something I don't really like, but it's how many orchids come to us, but it seemed to like it. The roots are nice and sturdy. Yes, this one has a nice root system. In comparison, this species To most other Paphiopedilum, these have very sturdy, quite hard leaves. And this one, that's growing in fine bark, looks good too. Again, a nice root system with only 1 or 2 old, bad roots. So after a repot, I'm sure they'll do fine. I'll be repotting them in my standard Paphiopedilum mix that I created myself, but for these species I put in a bit more coarse bark for better aeration. If you want to know what's in my mix, check out my Paphiopedilum Helene repotting video. The pots I will be using are a bit more shallow, so it's important to spread out the roots nicely. They also give the orchids more room to grow and produce side shoots in the future. I repotted them June 19th, so now 5 weeks later they adjusted and started growing again. Now we only have to wait and hopefully see some flowers in the future. Thanks for joining me again and see you in my next upload.